So, what services margins should you be running in your SaaS business? Well, welcome to today's edition of SaaS Metrics School. My name is Ben Murray, the SaaS CFO. So, if you have the setup, onboarding, configuration, training function within your SaaS company, typically called professional services, it's so important to understand the margin that you're generating in your services group. So, with professional services, I like to run services like its own business unit. It has to be sustainable on its own. And that's why we have to calculate the margins that your services are running at. So with PS, again, we need services revenue, we need services expense on our SaaS P&L so we can correctly calculate your services margins. So big first step here is the properly formatted SaaS P&L. I have a ton of resources on this at the SaaSCFO.com and the SaaSacademy.com. But in our revenue area, we need to call out distinctly our services revenue. And in the COGS or cost of goods sold area, we need a cost center for our services group for those heads, contractors who are onboarding our customers. And even if you're not charging for services, but have a formal onboarding function or just nominally charging, we still need this set up on our SaaS P&L so we can understand. In this case, say if you're not pricing your services that high, how much cash that's eating up in your business. So the proper SaaS P&L setup is so critical so we can calculate the proper services margins, that correct gross profit. So what are some services benchmarks? What should we be running at? Let's say if we're running 2 million of services revenue in our business, what should that expense be in that gross profit? So according to Rayrex data at benchmarkit.ai, services margins on median performance SaaS companies running around 35%, top quartile running at 50%, bottom quartile running at 15%. Now, let's not get too misled by bottom quartile meaning here because 15% would not be too bad. I've seen a lot of SaaS companies who are mispricing services, really not charging much for services, and they're losing a lot of money on services. And why is that a problem? Well, as you scale, you're going to need to invest more in that services group. And that's going to require more cash than normal if you're running at a loss. So ideally, we're running, say, at least 15 to 25% services margins. If you can get 35%, even better. I've been in businesses where we're running 45, 50% services margin. And generally, you can get there when you're running fixed fee packages. Now, I don't want to get 50% gross profit at the risk of now discounting our subscription products. So if you're really getting nice margins out of services, but then the client, the prospect is asking for discounts on your ARR, then we've got to kind of reconsider our pricing strategy because that's that classic age-old battle between services and sales, where generally they're going to deeply discount services first before they discount ARR. So we have that whole discounting stuff that we have to work through, but we want to run, in my opinion here, that we need to run a profit on our services business so it can be sustainable, because I've covered over the past couple of days those important metrics that we should be managing for our professional services team. And again, that's our services backlog in month, billable utilization, and finally today covering services margins. So if you didn't catch those previous episodes, check those out, especially if you have a services function in your SaaS company. You need to implement those 4 key PS metrics in your business. Thanks.